I mean, I was just wide awake.
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
leave that
Why
stuff
didn't you
alone.
call and warn me?
It's potent. I wish I had known that you were also suffering from the same ailment. Yeah, I can't drink
Oh, too
caffeine
funny.
past like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Hi.
This is great. Thank you so much for having us in your workshop. I'm just
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
start talking and pretend like
Yeah, this is
we're making
natural.
we're making an interview podcast right now. I am with longtime Bozeman local Ren Ferguson, along with his children Timothy and Virginia.
A couple of them.
For FergusonGuitars.com. That's the company. And you're the former master luthier at Gibson and Guild Guitars for many years.
Did you
Yes.
get all that right?
Yeah.
All true. And we're at your shop here in Belgrade. I can't really hear myself. I'm going to turn myself up. There we
Oh,
go.
such a narcissist.
Is
you
that
know?
better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
now-
just want to be louder.
Let's start with this. Why do we have to say luthier? Why just not say that you're a guitar maker?
I say I'm a guitar maker.
Okay.
Okay. My shirt says Master Luthier.
Yeah.
That's a holdover from Gibson. Early on, everybody was guitar makers, at least in this country. And then it got to be kind of trendy to do that and organized. And so we determined that at some point we needed to be luthiers, which really got to be a problem when we tried to find out where we fit in workman's comp. They don't have luthiers in
There's no category for
there.
luthier? I'm
Well, there might be
shocked.
one now, as often as we used it through Gibson. But
Yeah.
yeah, you know, the most dangerous tool we had was an X-Acto knife.
Those are very dangerous.
Very sharp. You gotta
He
keep them
keeps them in his
sharp.
pocket always, and I'm terrified of it.
You know, people would set them down. They would roll off the table, and they try to catch them between their knees or grab them. And,
That's death.
you know,
Lance themselves. Yeah.
We safety ours with that little piece of tape on the end,
so they don't
Okay.
roll so much.
and
Smart.
it has a little ball on it so that they can't roll.
You need that.
Are we all master luthiers? All no.
I'm
Okay.
a Mr.
Only
Luthier. He's
only Ren. By the way, first Ren I have ever met in my life. There was Ren and Stimpy,
Yep.
but I've never met a real life Ren. And Timothy, you were telling me luthier is based on the word lute.
Yeah.
Well, it comes from the root of that. It's a French term for instrument maker, and it was used long before guitars were being built, lutes were being built. And so it was somebody that made a stringed instrument, not a violin builder. But they are also included in it, but they're another step above generally
Okay.
300 years ago.
Wow.
You know, instruments were kind of play around in court, but if you wanted to listen to music, then you brought in someone to play your Strad that you kept in the vault in your castle, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a
High
big
ticket
deal.
items.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have you ever built a lute?
I have not. I have not. I've just about made everything else. I'd love to build a cello, and I haven't done that.
They have a big bottom. That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to ask. So, how did you get into making guitars? Luthering. Did you
Girls.
use? Yeah, and girls. I was gonna say, did you use like a shoebox and some shoestring, and you're like, "This is my first guitar ever."
No. In high school, I went to a high school that had an enormous graduating class.
Yeah.
I mean, right after the war, we had, you know, a graduation in June and one in February, and my class was 2,400. I grew up in Southern California.
Wow.
So I
a big
don't know
class.
anybody
Really
that I
good.
went to school with. But I had an uncle who played professional football, and so I had to play football. Except with that many kids in school, they fed the team raw meat. And I was a tackling dummy. And it just, go out there and get knocked over, you know.
Yeah.
You
So
were
I
Rudy.
wised up pretty quick, and I had always, been a whittler and worked in wood shop.
Yeah.
And I talked the teacher into letting me build a banjo. And that was the era when there was an event called a hoot nanny.
I
And-
love a hootenanny. Sorry, I'm from Alabama.
So the only way that you could get within a group of girls, if it wasn't the Girl Scouts, was to go to a hootenanny because they were all learning how to play guitar and were having a good time. And so we would all hang out together. And then bands formed in years later. And I got a job at a music store. And I started doing repairs for the fellow that owned the store, working on wind instruments and rehairing violin bows and fixing cracks and stuff like that. He was a great friend and showed me a lot of stuff. And as time went on, more and more instruments kept coming in the front door from the airport. We were right at LA Airport, and instruments would be broken, and people would raise a fit, and they'd say, well, go get an appraisal. So I'd buy a lot of these old broken instruments, and I would fix them up. I'd drive up to the Strip and sell them at Friday and Saturday night to bands. And so I taught myself how to build by doing repairs. And that was fine with the fellow that owned the shop, Jerry Jarris.
Nice.
Neat guy. So that's how it started for me, was playing music with my brother, who was a banjo player. And I built him my first instrument was a shop project. And it didn't work, but it was fun. And then I started building them for friends. And my dad had a paint booth. He had a office furniture store, and so I would customize people's guitars, paint them different colors, and take them apart and put them back together and fix them and make them work. And so I just sort of taught myself. Back then there weren't schools, or there was only one guy in our local area that was and he was truly a luthier. He was a classical guitar builder, and he was very, very willing to explain things to me until one day when I told him that I wanted to build a steel string, not a nylon string guitar, because I wanted to play bluegrass, like, Flat and Scruggs or the Dillards or somebody. And he didn't even say anything. He just pointed at the door.
Oh, wow.
That was the end of our relationship.
Oh my gosh.
So, but he was a master, and he was very inventive, and Jose Uribe.
Okay.
Yeah, he was great. He was.
Wow.
He may still be alive, but his instruments are beautiful.
Amazing.
They were then. I mean,
So office furniture was the family business prior to your becoming interested in guitars. Now the family business is guitars.
Yeah.
Was this a
Banjos, mandolins, whatever we can get away with.
Did you guys come along to this plan willingly? Or were you excited about this, or did you just kind of get shoved into it?
Gibson allowed me to build instruments here at the house for exhibition. They didn't have a true custom shop early on, and as the factory evolved and we got more proficient at building instruments and hitting our numbers, there was an opportunity for me to work outside of the business, to do the art end of it, which I had taught myself to do just by observation and trial and error. And that was part of my income. I was allowed to get an additional, through my own company, I would bill them for the work that I did. And it grew so quickly, so rapidly, that we couldn't keep up with the demand. So Tim had been around it his whole life, whether he wanted to or not, because I'd sit up all night, cutting shell and inlaying and carving and stuff. Ginny was pretty young when that all started, but she was here through the whole period. And I convinced Gibson to hire Tim to do outside work like I was doing, but for a common custom guitar, where we might make 10 of something, where the ones that I was doing were just one-offs. They were just ultra fancy, crazy guitars. And we had so much opportunity to put, these beautiful vines on the fretboard, or, certain types of inlays, and that got him busy, and he had already started his own little company called Orion Arts, building ukuleles.
Okay.
And so it was not too big of a diversion for him, because he'd already learned the skills of doing it, to become a machine and just grind these inlays out.
Just a little larger, larger scale.
Yeah, a little bigger
bigger
mold.
volume.
Yeah.
All of mine were individual art pieces. They weren't like, you couldn't order 10 of the same thing. It was one. That was it, and it was done.
So
and
your
that's
knowledge,
kind of what we're doing now.
Yeah. What is the most expensive guitar? Like you said, you do very custom stuff. What is the most expensive guitar you have made? Do you know of one? I mean, what's the most detailed one that you have ever made, that you've spent the most time?
I made one for a music store in Australia. And although I didn't get the money, and I can't
right?
tell you what they did get.
You made it and they're reselling it for way more.
It was an upgrade on the one that we made for the Pirates of the Caribbean for Disney, which they gave to Johnny.
Oh, wow.
And I think that was $100,000, and that was 25 years ago or something.
Okay.
Good gracious.
It had 22 karat gold inlays. There's a picture of it up on the wall over there. You can
Oh, I
take a
see
look
it.
at
I see it. Yeah.
And he's in his trailer playing it, which is really cool.
That is cool.
Amber Heard definitely got that in the divorce, though, right?
She might.
I don't know.
I wouldn't keep up with these
But the one that
gossips.
you made for the Australian
He said, I
shop
just
was an
want one.
upgrade.
I want an upgrade. And I said, I've already used gold. He goes, well, let's use jewels,
Oh, my
Okay.
goodness.
So Ginny can probably show you at some point. There's pictures of, I made a treasure chest that's about that big and about that tall, except it's sanded on the bottom and it fits over one of the braces inside and can come out if you want.
Oh my god.
It has a
so
false
cool.
bottom in it, and I made it out of tiny, tiny pieces of wood, and I put brass corners on it, made all the little handles like you would carry it with, and the lock, and I mean, it was just this
My
ultra
goodness.
miniature thing.
Okay.
And then I made a stamp, a die, and I stamped all coins because I had used doubloons. I made all different, copies of original stuff found on treasure ships and stuff.
Oh, my God.
And that was the inlay. So I made little ones, and I punched them, and then I soldered them all together on a plate, and it was like lumpy with all these coins in there, like the chest was full of, doubloons.
Yeah.
And then I found this really cool gold crucifix, and I put that in, sort of buried that like it was inside. And I had bracelets, and I had a bowl, and inside the bowl, I filled it with diamonds and rubies and sapphires and emeralds.
Boy, howdy.
And- yeah.
How long did this take you?
I don't measure anything. Okay, I
Right.
just do it till I'm done. Okay?
Right. You're like
The figurehead
starting
of
and finished.
the neck or on the head was the Southern Cross on the shield of a maiden in a flowing red, white, and blue gown with a sword in her hand and a shield with the Southern Cross on it on the front of a ship coming out.
And this
course.
and this guitar played
Oh,
like
beautifully.
a
Like
Oh,
thunder. Yeah. We had about 4 sets of the wood that we made Johnny's out of, and this guy got set 2. And,
okay. How do you balance this aesthetic with the playability of the guitar? Who's in charge of like quality control on whether or not the guitar sounds good?
This may sound trite, and I don't mean it to be that way, but different types of wood have different characteristics. They respond quicker or slower. They're fatter or thinner. They're thicker or thinner. They're warmer or brighter. I mean, there's all this language that can be used, but they have a particular voice. There's 4 different types of maple that we use, and they all sound a little bit different. And based on the style of the person playing it, we try and match that combination of woods. Most important wood, of course, is the soundboard, the very top of it. But the back and sides, it's almost like seasoning. When you're cooking, you add, a little bit of this, and if you haven't got a chicken, you use a fish. So,
Yeah.
If you
Totally
say
different
so.
flavors. Now I'm hungry. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Who has the best ear?
Well, I do it by
Of the 3
experience,
of you.
and I can tell often by just rubbing the wood as I'm handling it.
Come on.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. And anybody
feel
that
that.
does it,
You've been doing it a long
because
time.
you're flexing it.
Yeah.
You're kind of giving it a torque as we handle it. We got bins full of wood, and so we go and we look for one. Well, this one's got wider grain. Generally, wider grain has less. The grain lines are the annual rings in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
The more of them you have, generally the stronger or more brittle the tree would be in the forest. Once it's cut down, it's not of much value because every winter all the moisture leaves and it just leaves all the resin that was in the wood as it was growing. And that's the ring. And resin is what we make glue out of. So every time sound has to go laterally through that, it's deflected and runs the length of the grain line before it dissipates. So that the portion between those grain lines, I have learned, or at least I trust my experience, is the wood sound. And we use X braces and a variety of different brace patterns on the inside of the guitars to give them strength. And what we want to do is turn that thin board on the top of a guitar almost like a speaker or a drum head. So it's moving, it's pumping the air, and it's driving that air and the volume of the guitar out. While it initially is impacted, that's when you get your seasoning from your back and sides. And whether you like a splashy, rattly type of sound and you go with one wood, or if you want a really deep and homogeneous, pure sound, you would go maybe from the splashy one being mahogany to Brazilian rosewood, being the really deep one. And then if you like more treble end, then you might go toward maples. And some of the maples are warmer, and there's just a variety. It's a great palette. I mean, it's just wonderful to work with. And
what about like an engineered Trex kind of fake wood? Would that? When would you want to use that?
Stop talking,
Sorry.
for steps.
Sorry. I don't know. Sometimes things come out of his mouth. I can't control it. Speaking of weird things to ask, you guys make guns as well, correct?
Well, not regularly.
Do you have a guitar that
do.
is also a gun?
No.
That's a fair question.
I need to know. I need to know. Yeah.
We have
Shoot
been asked to
something
make
and also
them.
play it
Yeah.
out.
Have you?
We do have a guitar coming up where we are putting guns crossed on the headstock.
Okay.
Okay.
We have another guitar. That one in particular is a shotgun theme instrument. We've got another
Trap
one that's for trap shooting.
Okay.
Another one coming up that's like a quail and Brittany hunting dog theme. People come up with any idea imaginable, and it's like your imagination is the limit. You tell me what you want, and we can put it on there.
Yeah.
Like it's
And
literally that.
even if we can't do it,
possible.
we're going to tell you we can.
You're going to spend many days cursing their name, but you're going to do it.
In the
Yeah, we're
case
gonna
of a
try.
guitar
You know,
that shoots,
that's the fun part
I'm
of
not
this.
sure we're allowed to. We may be able to.
But all these that you're describing are one-offs, right? Each
Just
one is
about
just
everything we make is a one-off.
is a one of a kind.
Even our series, we
fly fishing one.
Yeah, the fly fishing series that we have right now. Although so far the first 3 instruments that we've built in the series are all themed to fly fishing, they're all unique, as will the remaining
With
3
the
in the
exception
series.
of
Okay.
the headstock inlay and the fretboard, they're all inlaid similar, but the carving pattern on the heels, we have different type of trout jumping, or there's all kinds of stuff that we do to them. And then each pick guard's a little bit different, and there's a fly rod on the pick guard taken apart and laying down or put together, and a bunch of trout out of an old wicker
Krill.
creel or something, so we really enjoy doing stuff, and certainly outdoor stuff is
Yeah.
my preeminent.
Place to
I
be.
love doing that.
Right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's as good as being outside.
So we talked about some of these custom jobs that you do. Over the course of your career, have you created guitars? I would imagine, as long as you were at Gibson, there are artists who exclusively use Gibson guitars. Did you make guitars for certain artists?
Most of them,
Okay.
and
What stands out to you as sort of like a highlight that you, a guitar that you made for an artist?
well, certainly the one for Johnny.
Okay.
And you had asked about how do you balance that wood. Now, the bridge on that thing was extremely big and heavy because it's the fantail of the ship with the carved sea monsters and the 2 guys holding the tridents up and the globes, from the
Wow.
back end of it. So, trying to balance the weight of something that big and make it still perform and do the art end is a real balancing act. His guitar could have been better if I'd used a little bit lighter one, but he just sat for hours before I ever played it, just looking at it, and that's the thing that drives us to do the work that we're doing.
Right.
It does seem like the
It's
3
art.
of you just love
It's your
this
craft.
challenge of it.
Yeah.
Oh, we do.
Well, I think,
It's hard to have
art,
a
for
business
sure.
and have this much fun. And, I mean, we're always at each other's throat because I need to use that room for something and he needs to, finish what he's doing. So I've got to wait. And, we look around. We have no room,
Yeah. Yeah.
A fireman would refer to this as a cruel and torturous exit path. Like having to roll tools out of your way so you can get out of the building before it blows up.
Right.
It's
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Be careful. I had to, show my students the correct way to get out of the building today safely, but I don't know how we do it here, you guys. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I need a good map.
I just put a lot of fire extinguishers in so you don't have to leave.
All right. Yeah, we'll just stay here, put it out.
Plenty of timber.
Yeah, and hopefully Hoary Marmot can give you our logo for our future guitar.
Right.
Yeah, we'd be looking forward to that. But yeah, do you want to tell them about our game, our weird game that you've put together, Joe?
Sure.
Joe likes to put together games, and he always surprises me with them, and I never like them.
Oh, good.
Yep.
We're bound not to like them either. But we're going to play anyway.
Yes,
We're
thank
willing to
you.
play.
Thank you. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm,
so
like,
that means there's
tangling you guys
no
up.
more big difficult questions, and we've really been putting you through your paces here. But this is just a game called Custom Inlays. Pearl and gold have street value, but how about guitars that incorporate sentimental value? Okay, I'm gonna give you some items that have sentimental value for Michelle and me, and I want you to tell me how you would incorporate them into this custom guitar that you're gonna make.
Okay.
Hypothetically.
See,
You
I don't
really
like
have
it already.
Well, we will start with Michelle and I have a wedding announcement pillow.
All right.
It's a little pillow. It's starting to fade now.
Somebody
but
gave it
it's
to
got,
us as a gift.
Yeah.
It's not something I would do for
And
myself.
it's got our wedding announcement printed onto the fabric of the pillow. How are you going to work that into a guitar?
We would have an option of either doing what is written on that down the fretboard, in script or block letters or whatever you wish, or we could put it on the pickguard, which is the
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Okay. So we could inlay that in mother of pearl or gold or silver or whatever, or combinations of those, because that's what we do a lot of. And so we could do that, or we could make a replica of the pillow, and we would select shell if it was like a satin pillow that we could get the texture and stuff right.
Got it. What would you do?
We also offer the potentiality of a custom serial number, and the serial number could end up being the date.
Got it.
Yep.
I remember
I like that.
a friend
What
of
if I
Dad
leave
worked
Joe
with
though?
years.
Like, how do I fix that if I still want to play the guitar?
That becomes much more
Just
difficult
make
no matter
it,
how we
just
do
make
this.
it your
But
birthday,
I do have one
and whatever date
birthday.
you
I
said,
like
just
what
is
she
fine.
said. It's your birthday.
Sorry.
We
It's a
had
joke.
A friend of Dad's that had a ukulele built, and she had a favorite poem, and I wrote the poem on the inside of the guitar.
Oh.
And if you
Okay.
use pencil, you could take it to somebody and have it X-rayed, and you'd be able to see the poem in there. Now, you're not going to otherwise know that it's there,
Right.
but it is there.
Okay.
And we then took out of that
Fun
poem
nod.
any of the, like a noun. So one of them was rocket. One of them was daffodil. Created little icons for
Inlays
each of
of
the
those.
words so that those were her fret markers.
Oh.
And so that's
Okay.
maybe one way that could flex.
Wow.
Cute.
I like that.
Great ideas.
Not cute. It's
All right.
gorgeous.
How about this? Michelle just got a small sea turtle figurine because she has been wanting to swim with sea turtles since she went through chemo. Then she got to swim with sea turtles, and now she got a little
They were, like, right up in my face.
figurine to represent that experience for her. How do we get that into our guitar?
Let's go.
Yeah, we're down with that one.
Yeah.
No, that's what we do. I would love to see like a whole trail of them inlaid. Maybe bubbles coming off them, little silver bubbles.
On
Swimming
that
up the
fretboard? Okay.
Clusters of them at the frets where the markers would normally be. Or you could turn it over and do a large inlay in the back. I mean, you could do anything, and
Sure, that's prime
Love it.
real estate
One
there.
of my
Plus-
favorite creatures. I've already drawn a few. I
yeah,
haven't
he
cut them
built
yet.
a couple beautiful bronze ones, or I guess they were brass.
They were made out of copper and steel.
Oh, that's right.
I ended up getting to do sculptures. I learned how to weld in high school, and something developed one day where a guy needed help getting a project done, building a weather vane, and it evolved into a couple of sculptures. So
Awesome.
it's pretty cool.
All right.
That is very cool.
But the
Yeah.
shells themselves are what picks used to be made out of.
You're kidding me.
No, that's what. You're not allowed to harvest them anymore under any circumstances for
Why?
fruit or anything else.
Can't even
Why
swim
would we
near 'em.
use turtle shell for that?
Well, again, it's an organic product, and it just sets the string in motion in a way that, in fact,
Just sounds right?
Yeah.
let's see.
Yes.
There's one there.
Okay.
I
There's
mean,
a lot
this is fake celluloid plastic
But they
to
make it look
look
like
like
a
it.
turtle.
But it's
That's
got
how
that
important
pattern.
it
We
is.
have the
And there's
faux
one there,
tortoise.
a bone, I think.
I mean, listen, if it's an Alabama box turtle, y'all, I'm okay,
Okay,
with
well,
it.
that,
We need to start a new.
Those
new
are
fad.
like a dime a dozen. They just
So-
walk across. I save them all.
You really
But-
do.
here's one that's made out of horn,
Oh, wow.
cow horn. And it's been cooked and flattened. And it's also very good, but this one in particular is very, very heavy, so it's a little too aggressive for me to play. But the tortoiseshell, they just have the right amount of give. I mean, you can get them thinner or thicker, but most recordings of really quality instruments are done with either with natural fingers or fingernails or a extremely good pick.
How about
Alabama
that?
box turtle.
All right. I'm learning so much. This is fascinating. Okay, a couple more. I have, this is going to set Michelle off, I have a shot glass collection.
I thought you got rid of that.
Means a lot to me. It's still in the crawl space. And I'm not allowed to display it anywhere.
No, it just
I'm,
lives in a box.
I'm not really even supposed to have it. But I do. I still have it.
He would never put it anywhere in our house anyway because you don't like the amount of space it would take up.
What can we do? I don't care. We can break all the glass, whatever. I just want to immortalize my shot glass collection in a guitar. How are we doing it?
How are they shaped? Is it a very vast variety of
Shot,
shapes?
yeah, all sorts of.
Because I know that
shot
the ones that
glasses.
are the tall ones that would slide onto your finger.
I got
they
some of
work
those.
Perfect for playing slide guitar.
Okay.
Oh, see,
Not
fine, we
maybe
can
perfect,
keep two of
but
them.
they make them work.
Get the job done.
So you just need a case that's going to go with your guitar to house all of those.
I don't necessarily need to preserve them in shot glass form. I just want
Okay.
the material. That's what's important to me. I want to incorporate it into the guitar. How are you doing it?
You want to put glass in a guitar?
Yes.
I have not used glass yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a weird
This
sound.
is a new frontier for
Yeah.
Yeah.
The closest I got are diamonds.
Yeah.
you. These are not
You need
diamonds.
something more durable for klutzes who play guitars.
All right, we'll keep working on that.
All right.
Let
Fine.
you guys
Will
noodle
we-
on it. How about this? A lock of our son Wallace's hair from when he was a baby. Beautiful blonde lock of hair.
Still got blonde hair.
Total towhead.
Yeah,
It
it was like
used to be
white.
more
It was
beautiful
like
than it
white.
is now. It's okay to admit that. How do we put this hair into a guitar?
Well, I would want to have a picture of him as a youngster, maybe up to a year and a half year old with a tow head.
Yeah.
And we would do that portrait with gold mother of pearl. And then we would, we could easily take that lock of hair and, just lay it down the fretboard and use, not his hair actually, but make a lock of hair out of gold, just like it was.
Okay.
And
This would be a
engrave it up
separate
so it would be-
material.
Yeah.
Right.
You could-
Because
And then
incorporating other
you
organic
could then
material.
You could.
take that, wrap it, and hang it off the strap. Like a scalp lock.
Okay.
You could
I've
make a
scalped
nice
many.
fitting for it.
We
What were you
also
gonna say?
we also have the opportunity to utilize acrylic. So sometimes that's a medium we'll use for inlays. So we could actually set his lock of hair in acrylic and then potentially cut it a shape out around it and inlay
Okay.
the physical lock of hair.
Okay.
Along
Like
with-
bronzing baby shoes.
Less tactile then, which I like Dad's idea of being able to actually reach up and touch it.
Yeah.
Where if it's locked into
hanging off.
the hardener, like Jen was saying, it may, if I can come up with the right way to make it work, then it's great. You still get to see it, but then it's not tactile.
It's
anymore.
under epoxy,
Okay.
basically.
I
Yeah.
think since it is
I'm
something that is
imagining
your
a little
child,
bow tied around the
locking it
little
away
floor.
isn't right.
It's pretty cute.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Little
I see
blue
what you're
bow.
saying. Yeah. You don't want to put a child in a prison. I
All
see
right,
that.
last one. We're getting dark. Michelle and I had a corgi named Atlas. Fantastic dog. And he has
Worn out.
he has been cremated, and now we have his ashes. How can we work those into a guitar? There may be small chunks of teeth. I don't know. I haven't really sifted through it. But what are you gonna do with my dog's ashes?
What's the budget?
Unlimited? Are you kidding me? It's
well,
Hori Marmot.
Then I'm going to make diamonds.
You're gonna compress it into
Oh, they
diamond?
absolutely, yeah. You can
Oh,
send
nice.
off anybody's ashes and make it into a diamond today, and then
Really?
you could incorporate that. That's
Atlas
the first
was a
thing that
diamond.
jumped into my mind, because then it's It's
We
less
usually vacuum
morbid.
that stuff out.
How dare you talk about my dear departed dog that way?
It's fine. It's fine. I don't know why we still have his. Oh, I do. Yeah, he was a good dog. He was a diamond of a dog. So that's a great idea. So you could have a diamond.
Yep.
And just like you incorporated Jules into your other guitar, you could probably
Sure.
incorporate that.
We've put them on mother of pearl buttons on the ends, that you tune them, put
Right.
sapphires all over them, and
Wow. God, it'd be
set
so
them in the
great.
headstock, and done other engravings with them as well.
If
so.
we did a mosaic of your dog, we could have
That's
the
what
diamond
I'm
hanging off his
thinking.
collar.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
Just
he
those
was
are
all
all
about
fun
the
too.
bling.
This is good.
Atlas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Atlas.
Fergie.
The history of Atlas we live on.
Yes, we have another one named Chuck. He's no Atlas, but he's
No.
a good dog. He's a
Atlas
good
set
dog.
the bar too high.
He's a
It's
little
fine.
bit
That's
daft.
tough.
Yeah. When I was looking at his puppy picture and telling everybody which puppy I chose because I had a bunch of faces to look at, I was like, "This is the one I picked," and they were like, "Oh," because his eyes are a little far apart. So he did look like maybe he might have come out with some special needs, but we love him nonetheless.
He was a challenge,
was
and
a
we all love a challenge,
Yeah.
clearly. The takeaway is that FergusonGuitars.com can handle basically any dumb request that you might have, because
And
I've
dumb
just
dogs.
made the dumbest of all, and they handled them with aplomb. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
sitting
Fun.
down with
Oh,
us.
sure.
Timothy, Virginia, and Ren Ferguson. This is a fantastic operation, and
Yes.
Thank you
I
very
am
much.
better
appreciate
for
you
having learned about it.
letting us see all this. Cool.
Oh yeah. I'm so happy you came.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not on a street front, we don't have a sign or anything, so the people that do come in have sought us out for some reason, and this has been more fun than I can even tell you. This is great.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to tell more people about what you're doing.
Cool.
Thank
All
you.
right, have a good rest of your day.